Hi, this is Chris with Terranova Fitness. This is part 2 of the #1 way to achieve consistent fitness success. Last week we talked about the difference between process-oriented and identity-oriented. People who are process-oriented consistently, step by step, get what they want. They achieve their goals. And people who are identity-oriented have that yo-yo effect or that drop-in, drop-out effect. So if you know you're identity oriented, and I was like this for a few years, a long time ago, so I'm very empathetic about it. How do you break out of it? Well, first let's take a step back. I'm going out on an experienced coaching limb. A lot of people who are identity oriented, these are amazing, great people. They have a lot of thoughts going on in their head. It's like a blender or a tornado of thoughts. On one side, they might have the past montage movie of I should have, if only, if I didn't do that, if only I did this. And then on one side, they might have the future movie montage of one day, if only I fill in the blank, I will fill in the blank. And when you have these past and future movies just shouting down on you, you lose presence. And it overstimulates your sympathetic nervous system. This is the flight, or freeze part of your body. This also hormonally holds on to those fat building cells. So how do you break out of that? You need to create presence. I know what you're thinking. This is not some woo-woo Haight-Ashbury stuff. The top venture capitalists, martial artists, entrepreneurs, teachers, athletes, Olympic level gold medalists, all understand the universal concept that if you have presence, you have access to your best decision-making self, habit-keeping self, motivational self. So it's in our best interest to create this presence. So how do you break it? One way you can break it is to meditate. I know it sounds like a little hippie-ish, right? But you look at Ray Dalio. He is the founder of Bridgewater. It's a $150 billion fund, the biggest venture capital fund in the world, and he credits meditation more than any other strategy for his success. So let's take a cue from people more successful than us on how to get there. So one way is meditate. It can be as little as 5 minutes a day. It's not so much the amount of time, it's the consistency of building that habit. And what that does, it makes your parasympathetic nervous system, the responsible part, the prefrontal cortex, it becomes a little bit stronger. The other thing you can do to build on top of the meditation is, there's an active form of meditation that I use. It's when you're outside, you can do this inside as well. Look at a bird, just stare at it, or look at a tree branch flowing from side to side in the wind, or a flower. And what this does, it creates separation between you, your identity, those bad negative feelings of, I'm not even going to try that. That's not me. It creates separation between those two. So you start to detach from that identity. That's becoming the watcher. The other technique or skill or principle you can use is when you do have that identity-oriented negative feeling, like I just mentioned, just watch it. Kind of take a step back from it. Imagine it's a sailboat sailing on the horizon of the ocean. Just watch it, just watch it. And if you keep watching it, it creates separation. It detaches your identity or attachment to it. Now, it's very similar to that phenomenon when you're in an argument with, a boyfriend or girlfriend or anybody, and you just are just in that argument. You're attached to that anger, whatever that negative feeling is, and you can't see the right course of action to take. But if you ever notice if your friend or coworker comes to you for advice with a similar situation, you're like a Yoda. You know the exact right action to take. Why? It's because you're not attached to that identity. You're not attached to the feeling that person has. You see things objectively, process-oriented. So right away, you're like, oh, this is what you got to do. So take advantage of that phenomenon. Become the watcher. Science has proven beyond a shadow of doubt, when you create presence, whether it's active presence, meditation, Tai Chi, meditative forms of yoga, isolation chambers, watching staring things, bird watching, whatever you do to get present. There's several things that happen in your brain. You almost become a supercomputer. And this is what really amazing people that achieve what they want. They supercharge their computer. Meditation increases plasticity in our brain. Plasticity is essentially increases our ability to change. Scientists used to think that once you hit a certain age in adulthood, that your ability to change your brain or neural pathways was limited. We know that's not true. We can increase that ability with meditation. That means you can increase your ability to change your eating habits, your fitness, your weight loss goals. The other major benefit to meditation or presence is it increases gray matter in your brain. The gray matter is directly linked to willpower. The more gray matter you have, it increases your decision-making ability. What does that mean for you? It means making better decisions with your meal preparation, your eating habits, your fitness lifestyle, who you associate with. So the question is, why aren't you meditating if you really want those goals that you say you do? Remember, this is not just hippie stuff. This is elite people. These are amazing people that are using this presence to get what they want. So in part 3, I'm going to start the process-oriented approach. I'm going to lay out my personal preference on how I'm getting what I want, step by step, and how I'm going to get what I want June 2nd, because I'm sticking to the process. I rely on the process, I constantly monitor the process, I'm vigilant, and I modify the process. So I encourage you, just try something to get you present for 10 days, and I promise you, you will start seeing changes in your behavior, moving towards the goals you want.